Hello, welcome to Geek-Room. This is a new YouTube channel and series which follows previous successful tag series Linux World. Geek-Room channel has opened content. You can see here there are preparing several topics. If you want to next topics, just write a GitHub issue and we can talk about it and add some new one to this list. Today we will start with the administration of your Dotfiles. If you look, there is the prepared section. Dotfiles are all configuration Linux files, application configuration and personal files. Version control, backup and sharing of your files is very important. There are many choices to select some technology. After the years I tried to use several of them. But best technique, simple, powerful, is positively this one. This selected technology is called Git Bare Repository. The complete prepared article is here. From the article beginning, there are the original authors of this idea, concepts. Please read this documentation. So let's go on it. Why Bare Git? Bare Git is used mainly on server side, not in the client. Why I'm trying to use it on client and mainly for Dotfiles? We look to the example. I will open terminal and we can look to the created Bare repository in directory .dotfiles. If I open here, you can see there is no content for Git working tree. There are just only metadata of Git, nothing more. So where are the files which has to be stored and keep with this Git repository branch? It is configured by the input argument. So if I return back, there are used two main tricks. This magic is hidden in these three lines. The first line is just the example how the Bare repository is created. So you has to use the argument bare. Yes, this create just a .file directory which has the metadata, nothing more. The work tree and the real data are not stored there. Second is the creation of alias, which is labeled the config. This config alias includes where is the Bare repository, it means where are the metadata, and the second argument is the working tree. And you can see that I select whole home dir. So this Bare repository will guard the whole your home dir. You can select some different placement. For example, if you have some Docker files and you want to share something to inside the Docker, you can create this Bare repository to the specific Docker and some development environment too. This is first trick. second trick is the third line, the config. You have to insert to your Git configuration file the local configuration parameter, and it is called the show untracked files to no. It means that tracking of all files is switched off. Yes, it means you have to just manually add some Git files which will be tracked by this Git Bare repository. Nothing more. It means that all next files will be not tracked and not used by this version control system. It is a very great approach because you want to keep just only your specific projects, your configuration files, which is important to back up and keep in your version control system. So for example, I open the terminal and we can look to the actual status. You can see 3 files are changed. So I want to look to these changes, just div, and we can look that it in xinitrc they are just add some new command. So I want to share this my change. So I tracked this file within xinitrc config status. It is here. Now I can use config, commit, use some add the command to xinitrc and config push. And you can see it is committed. We can check on your Dotfiles. There is my Dotfiles on GitHub, and I just refresh it and you see this last commit is there. And if I look to xinitrc, it is here. So what else? You have some station, you have some version control, you have the backup your configuration file. Now the station is broken or system is failed. So you need the station recovery, or you want to install new station, new hardware. There is one choice. You can create the script in my Dotfiles. You can find all these scripts. It is in Dotfiles bin there. It is here, the init and Dotfiles and subtrees and the pull all repos updates. If you look, there is the example of the init and Dotfiles. This script clone your Bare repository to the Dotfiles. Working tree is selected to the home there, and check out all the data with the force argument. It means that all files which was placed there will be rewrite by the version control files. It's very simple. You have some state on the machine and you get the new one with exact state which was stored in your Git Bare repository. Of course, the show untracked files parameter has to be set to no. Simple and effective. Yes, you don't need next unpassable for your project. It is all. You can finish here. Yes, you have full power for successful backup your .files. But sometimes you want to share your specific configuration projects. Yes, the nvim, Awesome, Xmonad, WVM, Emacs, and these specific projects have the specific configuration projects in GitHub, and you want to version control this project separately. If you want to look to my .files is just some main project which shared the separate projects which has the separate GitHub project. Of some config is the GitHub project, which is here. NeoVim is here. You can look. I go to NeoVim. It is here. So, how to solve this when you want to combine the projects under the .files and you want to easily manipulate with your .files and the projects and sub-projects? You have two choices. I call this the next game level. Two choices are the sub-modules of the Git or the subtrees. The sub-modules are much more familiar, but it is not a good approach of these .files. There are some cons and pro for this approach, but I recommend the second approach, and it is a subtrees. You can look to the Git documentation and read about subtrees. I placed here the example of this. You can look to the second script, which is called init git subtrees .files sh, and there is the example of addition at the separate projects to the specific config there. You can see that the project of some config git is mapped to the config .config of some. NeoVim, it is here. The branch, the main, is mapped to the config nvim. If you start this script, the projects, all these projects will be placed, the data will be placed to your .files, and you can change something and modify specific changes in your .files, and it will be just present in the .files. It can be called some patch, for example, but the files will be synchronized with the original project. You can always call the subtree pull command, which can synchronize the state of the subtree with your .file config there. There is one problem, just only to see which subtrees are already included in your .files. I prepared here some alias, in your git config it is defined ls subtrees. So I will open a terminal and try this command config ls subtrees, and you can see that this command show you the subtrees where it is used. We can try update the subtrees. So pull the subtrees .files, and there are the modifications. So I will just remove these things and go again subtrees.files, and you can see that it check the last commits, and there are no changes now. So yes, the last is one changed, and you can see in NeoVim I get the new update to my .files. So I just call the config push, and the synchronization with .files and the subtree is completed. It's done. About some questions to some specific solutions: how to version control the system files, not just the home dir. There is the possibility to system bare Git repository. It means you can complete version control the system root or some specific configuration folder, etc. opt, but I don't use it. I mainly try to use the extension points. It is provided in Linux by .d-dirs for some specific services or launching scripts, and I back up the system and restore the part of the files with restic administration tool. I hope that I will prepare next some YouTube about this backup tool, and for some specific configuration file, but it is just few small set. I'm using the copy of the files from the system files to my home dir.root. So you can find in my .files.root, and there are some just copy paste few files, yes, which I want to share in my .files with some people, yes. So it's easy, nothing more. In the conclusion, what is my daily workflow? So I'm prepared the script, pull all repos update, and there are all included my station repos. So you can see I'm using the config pull with autostash command. If I have there are some specific changes which has to be kept and commit after sometimes, I just use autostash and the pull. Yes, you can see that I have next repos for pass storage. The next YouTube video will be about a pass, the org mode, wallpapers, and next. So I just start this script and your station is updated. what about the next stations, laptop, servers? So there is next choices. I'm using the GitHub branches. So if I have some specific change in some file and it is not common, but it is some specific change to some station, I will create specific branch for the station, and sometimes just make the merge between the main branch and this specific station change, nothing more. So Bare Git Repository is the powerful tool for the version control of your Dotfiles. So try it. There is the whole article. If you have some questions, please create the Git issue and we can talk about it. So have a nice day and goodbye.